Check, check, check. Hey, real quick video before I'm off to have some fun. I'll drink some more coffee. It'll pick up my boy later. And we'll be up to plenty shenanigans. Believe that. Love the shenanigans with my son. I want to do a really quick video on picking a divorce lawyer. How you should go about getting a divorce lawyer. If you have, of course, been put through the divorce court mafia and the process has started, if you ever had to do it, you know how horrifying it is. Here's my number one go-to tip of advice for choosing a divorce lawyer. Don't get one. And I'll give you one even better than that. Don't get a divorce. Work on your problems, figure it out, fall back in love with your spouse, and give it another go. That's the big takeaway from this entire video is don't get a divorce lawyer because you shouldn't get a divorce. Don't do it. You don't want to be single in 2022. What a disaster, right? I talk to, again, now that I'm single, I talk to a lot of single people, men and women. And I do talk to married people as well. I've been very blessed and very fortunate to have been invited into people's marriages, let's say, and people are actually listening to what I'm saying about divorce and like why you shouldn't do it. And it's actually been quite an honor. But you don't want to be single. You don't want to be single in 2022. Like my dad was telling me the other day, he said, divorce is, singlehood is a calling. People are always asking like, oh, do you online date yet? Have you online dated? Are you going to remarry? And I just can't ever foresee that happening. And I'm okay with that. And I'm going to probably do a video on being single, like in the long term, like thinking yourself now single. If that's the route you think you need to take. For the time being, anyway, I can't foresee ever doing it again. So, that's the goal. Stay married. Easy. Or easier said than done, I suppose. But stay married. Don't get a divorce lawyer because you're not getting a divorce. That would be amazing if people could do that and think that way. But if it has to go that way and you're getting a divorce lawyer, if you can divorce amicably and not need law, not need judges, not need lawyers, of course, that's the best thing to do. Mediation at worst, at best, you can sit down and write things out. And you never have to see the inside of a courtroom in a divorce. You never have to. It's not required. You don't. If you two can sit down and write up your own plans, and just submit the paperwork, it's done. I know one person I think that I know for sure that has done that. My cousin, him and his ex did that. They sat down, they wrote up a plan, they both agreed to it, they submitted it, and they've had an incredible divorce, if you can say such a thing, because they were flexible and have been able to cooperate with each other and work with each other and both get a healthy amount of parenting time. And they never needed the divorce lawyers, the courts, anything like that. I hired a divorce lawyer because at the time it was really looking like I was offered this certain parenting plan that would have, for all intents and purposes, nixed me as a father, and that's why I felt like I had to hire one, because I know I was a basket case at the time. I wasn't thinking right, just because my nerves were frayed, so on and so forth, that I wouldn't be able to accurately portray myself as a father, and nor do I know all the laws, and nor did I have time to learn all the laws about how to go forward. So again, had I not thought my fatherhood was in question and I wouldn't have been able to have been a dad with the plan that I was offered, I wouldn't have hired one. I just wouldn't have done it. I feel like I absolutely had to. So if you feel like you have to hire a lawyer, there are some things that I would say. I don't know how much money I spent, just to talk to a lawyer or just to talk to a lawyer's assistant. You need a fee, like a consultant fee. Stay away from those guys. They'll charge you $100 for 30 minutes or something like that. $100 for an hour worth of their time to ask questions. If you do that, Um, I mean, I would just stay away from those people. Period. I think I did that once or twice. And it just wasn't. It's just I got some good helpful information, but that was about it. So if you call up anybody, make sure you have your question. Write your questions down. Know specifically according to your situation what questions you need to ask. Don't waste any time. You want things to get hammered out. So stay away from the people that charge you a fee just to talk. Go to talk to a lawyer that doesn't charge a fee just for their time, just to talk to them, right? Because again, I think I did that once or twice where I was charged a fee to ask some questions. It was helpful information, but ultimately didn't go anywhere. I felt like for me, the guy, the gentleman that I used, I kind of had a bit of a friend didn't refer me. It was like a lawyer referred me to this lawyer. And I called the gentleman up. And anyway, I had a friend that was using the same guy. I didn't know he was using that guy. And then we got to talking about divorce and such. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm using this guy. Blah, blah, blah. This is the person. And I said, oh, I just talked to that person on the phone. It was like yesterday. And he's like, yeah, man, go with this person. This person's very helpful. This person helped me get parenting time with my kids. And for me, it was like, okay, cool. A guy that I know, coming from his mouth, said, yes, use this guy. And I didn't even ask him about it. We just happened to be talking about the same things. And he told me who he was using. And he's like, man, the guy was great. And I have parenting. I'm a father now. I can be a dad. I get parenting time. And for me, it was like, okay, cool. That's all I need to know. And it worked well for me. And me and my son. But here's what I would say. Because I've talked to so many people going through divorces in these last 2.5 years. Stay away from the lawyers that say things like, because here's the thing, they play on your emotions at the time. When you're going through a divorce, especially, I'm not gonna say especially, everybody goes through a hard time. Man, woman, the husband, wife, kids, it's all hard, it's all bad, there's nothing good that comes from it. But they play on your emotions at the time. And so at the time I felt like manic. I was not in a good place. My work schedule was horrible. I was barely seeing my son. Complete no contact from my ex, so I have no idea how she's doing or what she's up to. You know, those things hurt your feelings. You know, and then you get angry because why isn't this person talking to me? Why can't I see my son? Why can't I? You get it. And so they play on that. And so they're saying things like, listen to what they're saying. Well, we should go after them for A, B, and C. Oh, they cleaned out the bank account? Like, that doesn't happen, right? Like, that happens all the time in a divorce. Oh, they cleaned out the bank account. We need to go after them for blah, blah, blah. And they need to be paying you back. And they need to give you this time back with your kids. And they need to da. And they play on that drive for, at the time, when if you're really angry or sad, whatever, they play on those emotions, man. So and the anger that comes from things. And so it's like, well, those people, they need to do this, and if they don't do this thing, then we need to, and they just crank the wheel on your emotions. And the best thing I can say at best, like if you lose money in the thing, they took all the money out of your account, you're hardly seeing your children, they who knows what, right? All kinds of crazy things happen. They slash the tires in your car. We need to go after them for da da da. And if they keep saying those things like we need to go after them for, stay away from those people, because they're driving on a vengeance that you already harbor. They're driving on an anger that you already harbor. They're driving on a sadness that you're already harboring, right? And so it's like, stay away from those people. Because at one point in time, this person was the love of your life, hopefully, right? And don't act on the ill will that you feel. Like, don't let them crank the wheel on you and just get you to start getting those wheels cranking. Look, in the scripture, right, when we read about this kind of stuff with Satan, it's like Satan's the accuser of the brothers and sisters. Everything, you know, it's a constant accusatory. This person did this person said that, this person da-da-da. And you want to jump right in with all your mind, will, and emotions to make the other person suffer. And it's like, as a Christian, as a bumbling idiot of a Christian, I suppose. Maybe that's not the right way to say it. As a failing forward Christian that believes but has doubts and struggles with my belief and things like that. But even I know, it's like, look, I love this person. At one point in time, this person was the love of my life. I don't want to have them. I don't want them to suffer any more than they should. I don't want anybody to suffer any more than is necessary, right? So if you're looking for a lawyer and they want to crank on those wheels of emotion to make the other person pay, whether it's financially, with time, resources, whatever, like, look, as best that you possibly can. And again, I say this all the time. You don't need to, in my opinion, it's just my opinion. And people tell me all the time, like, oh, I won't get into it. But people tell me, like, that's all you fought for? That's all you... It's like, look, I just wanted to be a dad. I just want to see my son. I don't want this other person to suffer needlessly anymore. I don't want to drag this out any longer than it has to. I gave up on a lot of things because I just wanted to be a father. I wanted to see my son. I want to raise my boy, right? And I know I'm making myself sound like super awesome guy to be divorced to or anything. I'm not. I'm a prick too, right? But it's like, you don't want to suffer any more than is necessary, and you don't want that other person to suffer any more than is necessary, and you don't want your kids to suffer any more than necessary. Try to get the thing over and wash your hands of it as quick as you can and be done with it. That's my opinion. And so, again, lawyers are saying things like, oh my gosh, we need to get them to back pay for these things, and they're cranking the wheel. We need to get them to give you more parenting time back that you lost and all this stuff. It's like, take it all as a loss, fight for your kids and your right to be a parent, and wash your hands of everything else, and run from those people that are accusers of the brethren. This is your ex-spouse you're talking about, someone that you love deeply. You don't want them to suffer any more than is necessary, right? But at the same time, you have your healthy amount of bullshit that you can take, right? And so there's a point where, who is it? Popeye said, I can only stands what I can stands, and I can't stands no more. It's like, there's a point where you have to draw a line. I know where it was for me. For me, it was with my son. And that's the thing that I needed to work on and accomplish, was being a father and parenting time. I have a friend that was going through a divorce at the same time, and she was trying to diminish 50-50 custody. She didn't want him to have it, and she fought in court, and she lost, and he got 50-50 custody, which I think is fantastic. But, when she was telling me about what her lawyer was saying, it was just disaster, compounding upon disaster. It was just trying to make more disaster for everybody, is what I heard, is how it sounded to me. And it's like, why would you do that? Wash your hands of the whole thing. Let the person move on with their life. You move on with your life. 50-50 custody. And be done with it. I don't know. But anyway, just listening to a lot of people's stories about divorce and divorce court and lawyers and things like this, sometimes you have to go with somebody who's an absolute monster just so you can see your kids. I understand that. But you want to keep your soul in the process. You don't want to punish that other person. Just go after what's fair and right. That's it. And if your lawyer is not sounding fair and not sounding right, and they're accusatory, that person, how dare they? Let's go after them for this. Get away from those people. Get away from those people. And something you need to understand in the divorce court process with divorce court lawyers is they all know each other. My lawyer at the time, he told me he had, he wanted to study, and he was studying business law, I believe it was. But it's like the most steady lawyer process there is divorce court, because people are constantly divorcing each other, constantly. And so what you don't realize is those lawyers, they see each other sometimes on multiple cases a day or a week. They all know each other. Their families go out to family functions together. After your divorce court case, you have a hearing, they're going out to lunch together. These people all know each other. And you think like, oh, my lawyer works for me, and this lawyer works for me. It's like, you don't understand. Those guys are all friends. or gals, it could be gals, they're all friends. They all know each other. Because the divorce court system is just a constantly ramping machine. And those lawyers, especially if they work in the same town, that's just a constantly churning machine. They're always seeing each other. They know each other. They're talking. They hang out. So, oh, my lawyer works for me. Oh, my lawyer works for me to get me the best thing. No, they're all friends. They try to represent you the best they can. And at best, you find one that's fair. He's trying to be fair and trying to be down the middle. You're not going to won over on your ex-spouse. You're not going to get anything over on them, or I hope you don't. I hope you're not like that and want to get more than what's fair. Just go after a lawyer who's fair, man. They'll tell you the facts, and they try to coach you in decision making, but they're not like, get that son of a bitch. Stay away from those people. Stay away from them. It's not necessary. You don't want that. Your kids don't need that. Leave it alone. Go after what's fair. Go after what's right, and call it a day. That's my opinion on finding a divorce lawyer. Again, don't divorce. It's wrecking our society. It's wrecking families. It's a nasty, nasty thing. You don't want to be single in 2022. Knock it off. Try harder. Work it out. Figure it out. It can be done. I think it can be done. And I say this all the time. And I say this all the time to people in person. And if you've talked to me recently in person, you know I say this. I think people's marriages can be better than they ever were. I think people's marriages can be better than they ever were. But people want to give up too quick. Sometimes there's good reason for it. I understand that. But a lot of times I just think it's too soon. And that's just my opinion. But take it from a guy who's been through one. Here's another thing, real quick. Those divorce lawyers, if you do a decent job for them, you'll call them back for the next divorce that you go through. Not only do they not know, they all know each other. They all talk. They all hang out. They get their families together. They go out for drinks and lunch together after your divorce proceeding. But depending on how you do, when you go through your next divorce, you'll call them back, and they know that, and so they want to keep you there, keep you baited. That way you come back for the next divorce. Don't do it the first time. Don't divorce. If you do it a second time, if you marry a second time, I don't know. Good for you. I hope it works out for people. I don't know. The statistics on that are pretty rough for second marriages. I think that's pretty tricky business, which I'll stay away from. I don't know about second marriages because I never had one. And hopefully I'll never have a second one. And really, hopefully I'll never have a second divorce. That's not my game. That's not where I'm going. But I do know what I have done already. I've been through a divorce, especially a divorce that when you're going through a divorce that you don't want and you're not offered a lot of parenting time and things like that, it's very stressful. It's very, very stressful. Don't run on your emotions to try to railroad the other person and destroy their life. Don't do that. Don't get a lawyer who does that. Go after a lawyer who's fair, balanced, and doesn't want to see anybody suffer, right? That's all I have to say. Blessings, you guys. Have a great summer day. Enjoy your time. Stay awesome out there, y'all.